Oscar De La Hoya is back, and he's not holding back in his blistering Clap Back Thursday segment. This time, his target is the highly anticipated Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga fight, scheduled for September 14th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Canelo Alvarez has responded with shock to Berlanga's latest training footage, but De La Hoya had a lot to say about the entire situation, especially when it came to the $89.99 price tag for the DAZN pay-per-view. The Golden Boy didn't mince words when he took aim at the fight on social media. In his view, it was nothing short of outright robbery. Oscar pointed out that not only was the pay-per-view price outrageous, but in-person tickets starting at $500 was pure thievery for what he called a ridiculous event. According to De La Hoya, this Canelo fight is another matchup where the Mexican champion faces a weak opponent, an event meant to pad Canelo's resume rather than offer real entertainment to fans. "We're a week away from the boxing match that nobody asked for," Oscar said. Meanwhile, the UFC event that everyone actually wants to see is happening on the same night. Canelo's fighting Berlanga in what's another snooze fest, and they're charging $90 for pay-per-view and $500 minimum for in-person tickets. It's robbery. Another lame Canelo fight that goes the distance against a subpar opponent. De La Hoya wasn't just angry about the price. He made it clear that he believes the fight itself is a massive mismatch. Berlanga is a rising star, but the undercard and main event combined, according to De La Hoya, don't offer enough to justify the cost. Berlanga, with a 20-0 record, is talented but nowhere near ready to take on a veteran like Canelo Alvarez. Still harboring bitterness over Canelo's 2020 departure from Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar hinted that Berlanga was being rushed into a fight he wasn't prepared for the sake of profit. "The fans are the ones who lose the most in this scenario," Oscar declared. "This fight is going to be a snooze fest, and those who pay $90 for the pay-per-view will be disappointed when the fight falls short of expectations. I'll be watching boxing anywhere, but the fact that I'm choosing to go to the UFC event and cheer for Dana White over Canelo says everything you need to know about my feelings on this fight." Oscar continued by emphasizing that no one had actually requested this fight. "No one asked for this matchup," he said. Canelo's fight against Berlanga is highway robbery. They want $90 for a fight that will most likely end in a one-sided knockout. I love boxing more than anything, but this is disappointing. Caleb Plant would have made a better opponent for Berlanga, a more competitive clash. Instead, Berlanga is in way over his head. Oscar's frustration wasn't just about money, it was about the state of boxing as a whole. He continued his tirade, expressing his dissatisfaction with the direction the sport is heading. "This fight is another example of promoters putting money over entertainment," Oscar lamented. "Fans deserve better. They're being asked to shell out hundreds of dollars for events that are more about padding records than offering true competition." But despite De La Hoya's scathing remarks, Canelo Alvarez hasn't backed down. As Canelo prepares for his next bout, he's made it clear that he's ready to deliver a dominant performance regardless of the critics. Even as De La Hoya criticizes the fight, Canelo remains focused on securing another victory. While De La Hoya is vocal about his distaste for the Canelo-Berlanga fight, others in the boxing world are starting to echo similar sentiments. Jose Benavidez, father of super middleweight contender David Benavidez, also took shots at Canelo, criticizing his career and calling him protected by the boxing organizations. Benavidez claims that Canelo has long been able to choose his opponents and avoid tougher fights thanks to the influence he wields in the sport. "Canelo has a lot of power," Benavidez stated in an interview. "I believe the organizations will continue to protect him until he retires. Everyone knows what's going on with these belts." Benavidez's remarks came shortly after the International Boxing Federation stripped Canelo of his title for refusing to fight his mandatory challenger, William Skull. Despite Canelo's claims that Skull wasn't a worthy opponent, the IBF stood firm and took back the championship. Benavidez praised the IBF for holding Canelo accountable, saying, "Finally, someone had the guts to take a belt away from Canelo. I applaud them for doing so." Meanwhile, promoter Eddie Hearn, who represents Berlanga, has called the upcoming fight a golden opportunity for the young Puerto Rican fighter. Hearn expressed his confidence that Berlanga, despite being the underdog, is ready for the challenge. "You never know if you're ready for a fighter like Canelo until you get into the ring," Hearn said. "This is the fight of a lifetime for Berlanga, and he's prepared to give it everything on September 14th. Berlanga earned his mandatory challenger status after a decisive 6-round victory against Ireland's Padraig McCrory last February. This win propelled him into the conversation as a legitimate contender for Canelo's super middleweight titles. Despite potential matchups with Christian Mabili of France and Jaime Munguia of Mexico failing to materialize, Berlanga was thrilled when the Canelo fight was announced. The rivalry between Puerto Rico and Mexico only adds to the anticipation. Hearn admitted that while the gap between Canelo and Berlanga may not seem huge on paper, Berlanga will have his work cut out for him. Edgar might have fought Munguia or Mabili, but those fights didn't come through. "When you get the opportunity as a mandatory, you have to take it," Hearn explained. Adding to the excitement, Hearn revealed that unbeaten fighter Diego Pacheco will likely face the winner of the Canelo-Berlanga fight. Pacheco recently scored a 6th-round knockout against Mikij Soletsky, improving his record to 20-0 with 18 knockouts. With a record like that, Pacheco is ready to take on the winner, though Hearn noted that Pacheco will need a strong lead-up fight before stepping into the ring with Canelo or Berlanga. Despite being the clear underdog, Berlanga isn't lacking in confidence. Leading up to the fight, he's made bold statements, claiming that he would stop Canelo in 6 rounds. He's even gone as far as to say that his ultimate goal is to retire Canelo. "I want to retire him for sure," Berlanga told TMZ Sports. "I'm not trying to disrespect him or anything like that. He's a legend, but at the end of the day, we have to fight." Berlanga doubled down on his intentions, declaring that Canelo is past his prime and that he's ready to take his titles. "Canelo has already done everything he needed to do in boxing," Berlanga said. "I think it's my time now. I'm going to show everyone that I'm the real deal." Whether Berlanga can back up his words in the ring remains to be seen. Canelo, known for his skill, experience, and devastating power, isn't going to be an easy opponent. But for Berlanga, this fight represents the chance of a lifetime. If he can pull off an upset, it could change the course of his career forever. As fight night approaches, the boxing world is buzzing with speculation. Will Canelo continue his dominance, or will Berlanga shock the world with a career-defining victory? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. All eyes will be on the T-Mobile Arena come September 14th. In the meantime, De La Hoya remains steadfast in his belief that fans should think twice before spending their hard-earned money on the fight. At the end of the day, fans deserve better than what they're getting with